Hi and welcome along to AFTV. We are here for the Starting 11 show, the show where we give you straight away the news on who is going to be in the 11 to face Burnley today. Joining me to discuss it, we've got Lee Judges, Julian is here, and Laurie in the building. And of course, big game today. Last game before yet another international. How many international breaks we have?
Three.
It's been crazy, isn't it? Crazy, but I think this is the last one for a while.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
last one for a while. Last one till yeah. So, very important that you go into an international break with a win, which makes you feel good. Especially the fans can just chill out for a couple of weeks and then come back for the next sort of segment after that. And a very winnable game today for Arsenal. On paper, taking on Burnley. Burnley have had a really horrendous start to the season. I've been surprised because I was saying when I was doing, a video earlier that when I watched them last year in the Championship, they were a really, really good side, really attacking, played great football. And I thought they were going to do really, really well in the Premier League, but they haven't. They've been really, really poor. Very good team attacking, but defending has been the problem for them this season. And Lee, how are you feeling ahead of this game today?
Yeah, pretty confident. I'm not going to lie. I think when you look at their form at this moment in time, just shows you the difference between the Championship and the Premier League. We should be in a good place at home. I feel confident, but there are rumours that there's a few injuries today and a few more players not available than what. It's not really worth listening to Mikel's press conferences now, because he just doesn't tell the truth, so he's saying that everybody's available apart from so and so. Now we're hearing rumours that other players might be out. We'll have to wait and see, but the team that we put out today should be good enough.
You feel that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing you said was that Burnley were good going forward, but they've only scored 8 goals, so that to me isn't great. And 4 of those goals were scored by a striker that's not going to be playing today. So on that basis, Lyle Foster.
He's had his notebook out, Robbie.
I mean, on that basis alone, and looking at their form, I mean, yes, they played really well last year. They got 101 points. Yes, they played attacking football, but this year they're just not up to it. They're as good as Sheffield United by 2 goals. They're the same points. They've got 2 extra on the goal difference. So if you base them against Sheffield United and what we did to Sheffield United, today should be an easy game.
Should be an easy game, Laurie, but we saw last week with Luton against Liverpool, we all thought that would be an easy game. Similar record right down near the bottom, not been playing well this season, but they put in a great performance and very unlucky not to get all 3 points. And that even in a game like this, especially as we know at the moment, Tottenham winning away at Wolves as we speak 1-0. Arsenal can't afford no slip-ups, and a draw is like a defeat in these games.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, my man Lee said it earlier, confidence should be at a premium. In terms of my confidence for this game, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 10. We should be beating Burnley, and not just beat them quite comfortably, I would have thought. That's no disrespect to Burnley, but if you look at their record, as my man said here, they're at the bottom of the table. They've only scored 8 goals all season. Lyle Foster, we mentioned, he's got 3 of them, so that tells you that they're struggling. And there is a big gulf between the Championship and the Premier League, and they're realising that now. And also, Vincent Kompany, who's a man I've got a lot of respect for, he's going with this, we're going to play, I'm going to stick to my principles and play this attacking, aggressive style of football. But at the end of the day, it's not really working. So I'm absolutely confident that we'll win today.
Yeah, there are a lot of rumours going around that there's no Ben White today. I've seen a lot of rumours that he's not even going to be in the squad today, which means that'll be another injury. Is this an issue, Lee? Because we're talking about a lot of players missing now. If Ben White's out today, you've got no Odegaard. You've got that tricky conundrum for Mikel Arteta that even if some players are sort of nearing coming back, if you go and play them today, then their international country is going to say, well, all right, if he was all right to play today, let's bring him on international duty. So Saka, for instance, does he get played today? Does he get risked? He came off the other night with an injury. Will he be in the squad? There's just injury. Tomiyasu, he came off half time.
I think he trained though, didn't he, Tomiyasu?
Yeah, he came off at half time. But do you play him? It's a lot of injuries at the moment for Arsenal, and
it's tough. And if it wasn't, like with this international break, you'd sort of like, let's play all the youth teams, so none of these internationals are going. But listen, I think if they're fit, you've got to play them, because it's still important that we get the 3 points today. And whatever happens on international football, you have to accept that. That's parcel of being a top club. That you're going to have players that are playing internationally, and we want them to play internationally. But you can't say to Gareth Southgate today, we play Saka and then give him a break. What you can say to him is, look, you've got 2 games for England. You've qualified. It don't matter what happens now. Be sensible with our players. And I think if every team, and I think if Gareth Southgate is probably good enough to do that, I think that he will do. I think he'll give the whole squad sort of a game. So if they have 1 game out of the 2, I don't think it's too bad. But for me, the ones that I don't like, I'd love to see Jesus playing today. Don't get me wrong, but with Burnley at home, I'd rather Jesus not play and then not be travelling all around halfway around the world for a couple of games. And where the Brazilian games, there's a lot on that. For their qualification and all that, And every time we've come back from Brazil, it was Martinelli injured with an hamstring injury. Then now it's Jesus. So for me, I take it Martinelli's in the squad. I don't know, so he's going to be travelling around.
He is. So Gabriel.
Gabriel's in it. I think Jesus is in the squad as well.
So
if he's not available today, then they can pull him out of that, But if he is even on the bench today, they can force that to happen.
Again, that's the conundrum, isn't it? Because if he is on the bench today, then Brazil are going to say we want it.
Yeah.
And I think that in the case of the Brazilian players, they want to play for their country so bad.
But
they're not going to be able to
they've
stop
got to be fit to play. And at this moment, Jesus has not had a game, but. And then I'm not being horrible, when they go over to these Brazils, more so, they're not worried about, they've done with Thomas Partey or they've done with England. They're playing, and they're playing because that's how it is. So for me, I think we can do without Jesus today, so I don't really want to see him there. But I've got a feeling that he'll be on the bench today.
Yeah. By the way, in the background, we've got the Tottenham Wolves game going on. Tottenham winning 1-0 at the moment. They scored very early through Brennan Johnson. There's also Eddie Nketiah. So Eddie Nketiah looks like he may be fit. If he is fit, Julian, who would you start with? Would you start with Eddie Nketiah or would you start with Trossard?
I'd start with Trossard. I would start with Trossard. After the performance he put in on Wednesday night and seeing what Eddie didn't do against Newcastle, I'd give Trossard the nod. I'd bring Eddie on if it's not going our way, but I just think from what I've seen of Trossard, I know he didn't play well when we started him against Fulham, but I thought he was, I wouldn't say he was the difference, but he definitely deserves a starting place.
Yeah, what about you? Trossard or Eddie?
Well, everybody who knows me knows I'm a keen advocate for Eddie, but I've got to be fair. Trossard came in, he got the goal. Didn't really do that much else apart from the goal, if I'm being brutally honest. But he got the goal, he deserves to keep his place. And as Julian said, you can always bring Eddie on later if we're struggling.
What about you?
I'll go with Trossard, just be purely on the fact that he scored and started on Wednesday, and I think that it'd be very harsh if you leave Trossard after one game when he's come on and scored. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. Listen, if Eddie plays today, I wouldn't be disappointed if it's Eddie and maybe Trossard out on the right and giving Saka a break. But or the other thing is that get Saka starting off, getting a couple of goals in front and then get him off.
I think it's kind of gone under the radar that Eddie is actually our top scorer in terms of Premier League goals.
Yeah.
So he was helped by that hat trick.
He's still got scored goals.
It's still 3 goals, isn't it? That's like going to Haaland and saying, well, actually, no, you would be the top scorer, but minus all the hat tricks.
What's your name? Turkish?
No, but I have to say that there's a few differences between Haaland and Eddie. And one of them is that Haaland tends to do it
I just gave you against
a lot of teams. Eddie's got the majority of his goals against the weakest team in the league.
It matters not.
AFC Max says, hey Robbie, Frank, I would love to know the stat of how many games of Arsenal won with Robbie in the starting 11 show, because it has to be a lot. I can't remember a loss so far. Okay, all right. Well,
That's because it's all at home. That's when you do the starting 11 show.
That's true. That's true.
That's
You
the
know,
thing with
so you're
August,
going to win
isn't
more
it?
at home on the starting.
Yeah.
Well, listen, my record is still good.
So is mine.
Nathaniel says, delusional, Julian. Don't compare Eddie to Haaland. But it wasn't actually.
I was doing the
it wasn't
opposite.
actually him who did it. It was. And I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying that a hat trick.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just say, oh well, that was helped by a hat trick. A hat trick, you scored 3 goals. You know, so you've got to give the man his flowers for scoring 3 goals. Whether you scored it, you know.
Listen, I'd like scoring an hat-trick against Sheffield United.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think, I bet it's not easy. You know what I mean? So, listen, you know, you can only score what's in front of you. Like, today, Eddie's capable of playing today. He'd be disappointed if he's not, because he'd be looking at it and going, do you know what? There's goals here today. You know, so like any of the forwards will.
Yeah.
So
I actually agree. I'm actually in agreement with you guys, though. I play Trossard as well.
Yeah,
because I just feel that he scored. You know what I mean? He scored in the last game. His confidence was up.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the comment here, but somebody said he feels there's a bit more fluidity with Trossard in the team.
He's more of a link player.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people have said, and I do see the connection. They're saying if Jesus is out,
he's the closest thing to
Trossard is the closest thing to that. Whereas Eddie is more of your poacher. So listen, like you said, Trossard came in, he got the goal, he played well enough to keep his place. So
and listen, you know what I mean? That's what I say with Mikel. He's got to be consistent in that, hasn't he? Like, if someone comes in and does the business, you know, they stay in. Like, you know what I mean? To a certain degree. My biggest thing today is I just want Kai Havertz to start. And
you wanted to start, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
And him to get a hat trick.
And him to score goals today. You know, that's all I want.
I mean, that header he missed the other night, that was horrendous.
That was.
But he did have a great strike that just went. If that would have went in, that would have been an unbelievable goal. But he does need something.
Yeah, the last 2 games he's done well for us. Not so well, but he's, you know, if he'd have started those first 2 games like that, you'd be going, oh, he's a bit of a player, like, you know. So, but he needs now to produce, and if you can't produce against Seville and Burnley, we've got problems. You know what I mean? So he needs to do the business in this game.
I must say that I thought, and I said this to Robbie, and I said it on my fan cam. Some people gave me a bit of stick, but Sevilla were one of the worst teams.
Yeah, well, I didn't think they was good at all.
I think they're probably the worst team to come to the Emirates this season. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think they're equal with Sheffield United.
So get up, that's embarrassing. I hope they go and score from this.
But at least Sheffield United had a little go up until we...
Go on! Well, every time they get into the box, a lot of jigsaw fall apart.
It took them until the 95th minute for them to have a shot on goal.
Yeah, but they did then have a bit of a go for the next 2 minutes.
They only had 2 touches in our.
They had a very depleted side, though, didn't they? Sevilla?
Yeah, but then so did we.
Yeah. I'm not making.
And also, they could have had a penalty, I thought, right at the end, which would have been a travesty to have.
But one thing I'd like to say about the injuries, I've always said that with injuries, sometimes that can be a blessing in disguise, because what it does, it gives the guys on the periphery of the team an opportunity. So, for example, the other day, Eddie got injured, Trossard came in, scored a goal, done his bit, now he's probably going to keep his place. I'd like to see a couple of the other guys who have not featured as much, you know, your Kiviors, your Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, obviously he's injured. People who are on the periphery of the team, if they come in and get their opportunity, you like to think that they're going to do well and give the manager
Smith Rowe's still injured as well.
The other thing is, which someone said to me yesterday, is that, you know, there's injuries all around the Premier League.
There is.
Every team's got injuries, and you look at Spurs, who are not playing the amount of games that other teams are. They're still picking up injuries.
They've only just picked up.
Yeah, but you get
Monday
them.
night. Yeah, you do.
You get them, and injuries are part and parcel of
injuries.
football.
And if you actually, I mean, I know a lot of people have been losing the plot about the injuries that Arsenal have had, right? But the one thing you have to say about Arsenal that they've done well this season is cope with the injuries.
Yeah,
right?
because they've got the depth of squad.
You know, these people I was talking to someone the other day and they go, oh, that squad ain't good enough. I said, well, if one lost one game,
Yep.
right, in the Premier League.
Yeah, and we're robbed in
despite
that
all
one.
the injuries we've had. You know what I mean? Sharks say for Wolves.
I'll tell you what, turn
Great
this
shots
off,
for Wolves, which they
please.
just
Let's
missed.
play some fantastic football.
So they get to the final third, innit? Yeah, they lack
that was
goal
great
scorer.
football again, but when it comes to the last piece of, it's
They just
atrocious.
if that would have been the other end, then that was Son.
He's got options there to play in players.
Yeah, that's Cunha as well. He should be much better than that finishing. As it stands in the table, Tottenham will, if they win this game, which they're winning at the moment, they will be top on 29 points. City on 27 in second place, Liverpool third 24, Arsenal fourth 24. Absolutely essential that we win this game today, isn't it?
Massive 3 points, because at the end of the day, you know, you'd look at it that City will beat Chelsea tomorrow, so you can't really look into be getting too many points.
Plus, that's where you want to put pressure on City
of course you do. You want to.
Let's face it, guys. If we've got aspirations of winning a title, and you can't beat Burnley at home, I mean, that is.
You know, this is the thing. Like, you know,
if we can't beat Burnley at home, and I know circumstances in football can change. We could get 2-3 men sent off and blah blah blah.
Yeah, of course, there's things that
if we're looking at it logically, if you can't beat Burnley at home, I don't think you deserve to call yourself champions.
Goal score.
Oh God, they've missed it.
Is that offside anyway?
Am I right?
Yeah, but like, I was just looking at this Wolves. You know what I mean? You know, it's like eating a steak without teeth, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's unreal.
You're speaking from experience.
That word offside wasn't offside.
He's missed it.
You know what I mean?
No, but you know what was criminal about that? He didn't even hit the target.
No, he didn't hit the target. But like Manchester City lost to these.
Yeah, Man City lost.
You know what I mean?
And Tottenham could lose to these if it carries on like this.
It's just one of those games where you're not going to. They'll be out here all night and not score.
No, look, they've got 35 minutes.
The example you used there was perfect. And the time when City did lose to them, it weren't like now. Wolves have actually been going on a good run, right, recently. But when City lost to them, they were in a really bad form. So it just goes to show. I mean, that was at Molineux, but you've got to be on it in the Premier League. But you know what this highlights, and it even applies to us, is that the importance of having someone who could put the ball in the back of the net. Because even if you look at our games, I think we'll all agree that in terms of possession and the amount of chances created, even we have not converted them, you know what I mean, good proportionately. We're struggling for goals as well.
Yeah, but
compared to the amount of chances we create.
I mean, I actually think our biggest issue is the amount of chances that we create. I don't think we create enough. So I don't think our finishing has been the problem. I think he's actually creating I
think we create enough chances. We've not been taking them.
I think
even last week against Newcastle, we created more chances than they did.
Yeah, we created more, but we didn't create enough. We didn't have that many great chances. I think we're below Luton for big goal chances created.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the other two think, but I think goals has been an issue for us.
I think we haven't created as many chances this season as we did last season. There's been obviously, it looks like Mikel Arteta's. I think he's putting a bigger emphasis on defending this season, where, you know, like, so if you notice when we go away from home, we're looking very solid away. I know we lost that game last week, but it was a very, very tight game at a very difficult place to go to. So defensively, I think we're looking more solid, obviously with Declan Rice sitting in there as well, and Jorginho. But I do think we've lost a little of that attacking spark. It doesn't help when you're missing players like Odegaard, you know what I mean? And even before that, he wasn't really on form. Was he maybe carrying an injury or something? You know, so there has been a bit of a lack of creativity from Arsenal, and we haven't been that free-flowing team that we were last season. But we're still in a great position at the moment, and you know, if we can be in this position come Christmas, you know, we're in a great position going forward.
Listen, I think with Spurs, with Arsenal at the moment, like watching Spurs in this game, their first 10 minutes, very similar to what we was doing last season, going in, getting a goal, blowing teams away. We've not done that. We've been a little bit more, not cautious, like more controlled in our games.
But it is cautious.
Cautious, a bit more control, but we're still getting the job done. You know what I mean? It's not been as entertaining. But the last two games, Newcastle and Seville, you know, like whatever you want to look at it, right? I don't really remember David Raya having a lot to do in both of those games. Now, that is something you couldn't say, like the goalkeeper here for Spurs at this moment in time has made 3 or 4 good saves. We're a little bit different this season, so I don't know if that will change.
And sometimes, sometimes that approach can win you titles.
Yeah, of course it can.
Because, you become that team that doesn't really... Man City last season, they didn't concede a lot of goals, right? They were very, very... a lot of people overlook that because they were so great going forward with the likes of Haaland and players like that. But they were very, very mean at the back when it comes to giving up chances, right? And if you look at it, they're almost playing with like 4 centre halves at times. You know what I mean? They got like Akanji, they got Diaz, they had Stones, they've got Walker. Ake was playing at left back. So a very, very solid back four with Rodri in front of them. That's very mean, doesn't give up loads of chances, doesn't give up, and they won the treble. You know what I mean? So is Mikel Arteta looking at it and saying, well, you know what? Because I look at it and I think to myself, I think if everybody had been fit this season, that back four would have been Ben White battling it out with Tomiyasu for that right back position. You would have had the centre halves of obviously Saliba and Gabriel. And then on the left-hand side, it would have been Zinchenko, not starting, Timber, battling it out. And so if he would have had that four, say Timber, Ben White on the flank, and then those two, Saliba and Gabriel, that's a very solid, especially if you then got Partey in front of them and Declan Rice. You can kind of see, I was looking at the other day, and he was looking and constructing a very solid back line with those two solid in front of them.
But then at the start of the season, for some reason, he was playing Partey at right back.
Because I think that's because Zinchenko was out, Timber was out, so then
that's when Timber was in.
Yeah, but Timber went out after the first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, but in that first game, he did play Partey.
Yeah, I think that was because there was Zinchenko was injured and he wanted somebody inverting, and he thinks that Partey can invert. And then, but you could see that he was kind of looking towards that more solid
And
defence.
if you have a look at a lot of teams that have won the league titles, you go back and any team, even when we've done it, there's a lot of 1-0s in there. A few 1-0s when you're not at your best, you have to defend properly and grind out a result. And Manchester City, do that quite often. But so there may be something in that. We're a little bit harder to beat. Certainly, as Laurie alluded to earlier, Seville weren't the greatest team that come to us. But I've seen poorer teams than Seville come to us and have 2 or 3 chances.
So I don't remember Seville having any. But if we were living in a parallel universe where Partey and Timber didn't get injured, we would have not only a stronger back line, but those 2 players are very good at bringing the ball out and carrying the ball, which creates more space up the pitch. And you create more space up the pitch, you're then going to be able to open up the opposition and create more chances. So I think it's actually affected us, not only defensively, but attacking as well. And those 2 players are massive for us, or would have been.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a chance, as I said, to get the job done today. Mustafa reminding us that Arsenal should not underrate Burnley today.
100%.
And I think, listen, we know that in the Premier League, you should definitely never, ever underestimate. Who's going to be a key player for Arsenal today?
I'm going Kai Havertz. I'm
Kai Havertz?
Yeah, I'm going for him. I think
key.
Key. I think like the last couple of games, he's done okay for us. The backing that Arteta's given him by saying whatever, he needs to perform and do it. So I'm backing Kai today, I'll be very disappointed if he doesn't score and contribute today. Very disappointed.
I'm going to go with our wingers again, because if you look at the quality of their fullbacks, that again is a weak link for them. And if we can get at them like we did with Seville, that dominated the game for us.
I mean, Martinelli the other night was on fire.
Yeah, he was just on fire,
wasn't he? I mean, both of them were on fire, but Martinelli was, he was, his end product could have been better probably, but he was absolutely scintillating the other night. Key player for you today?
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say exactly the same thing. So I'm not plagiarising your work. But Martinelli and Saka to continue on that good vein of form. And I think if they are anywhere near approaching their best, that should set the framework for a good win.
Okay, we've got the team. We've got the team slightly 5 minutes early, but I've just been sent the team by our team downstairs, so they better have it right. But they're saying it's Raya, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Saka, Martinelli, and striker is?
Trossard. I've seen you.
Trossard.
Trossard.
He's went and spoiled it. It's in your phone. It is Trossard.
So they're right about Ben White being out.
So Ben White. So I've got no news at the moment on who's on the.
That's confirmed team news.
Yeah, I've got no news on the bench, but that's said to be the confirmed news. So immediate reactions there. Tomiyasu, no Ben White.
Well, you know, I never mentioned that Ben White was going to be out and whatever. Like, you know, it must be an injury of some sort, or he's ill or something. Because
Ali Caesar saying Ben White must be sick. Could be that.
Yeah.
Because you know, obviously, like you'd definitely play him in this game with internationals, and he's not involved.
Apparently, it's a problem with his hair dye. You couldn't.
Well, I don't know what that was all about,
but can I say about Ben White? As good a player as he's been, he's played pretty much all the games so far. He has looked a little jaded in the last couple of games.
I thought he played, but he was back to his best against Seville. And I say it wasn't hard, but he looked bombing on, making a lot of overlaps and things for Saka. So.
I don't think, with no disrespect obviously, but I don't think him being missing will be the determinant factor today. That team is more than strong enough to.
Yeah, Tomiyasu, if he can go through the 90, is okay. Be interested to see. The bench now becomes more important, doesn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? Or who's on the bench?
Have we not got the bench yet?
Haven't got the bench yet. Jorginho captains the team today. He's been all right recently.
Done okay. I thought he was more than good on Wednesday night. You know, I know that he gets the pluses for the pass and all that, but I just thought he was neat and tidy. That sort of game suits him. You know, when you're at home and you've got a lot of possession, I think that it does suit him. I don't think he was bad even at Newcastle the other game. Like, you know, I think he done okay. You know what I mean? So it's just that you know, it's tough for him to say, all right, you know, you've got to get up to the standards of Partey, because that's difficult to get to. But you know, he's reliable as well. You know, he's always available, isn't he? And I think he's done okay in the last year.
He's actually done very well for us, right? Because when you think last season, when Partey was out, we'd all be here very, very worried.
Yep.
Jorginho's, you know, he's not Thomas Partey, but he's done well. He's come in and he's really filled in well for him so far this season. Big up to Anson, whose super chat says, Robbie, when is Tanvi coming back? We'll have Tanvi back on very soon, I'm sure. And what colour is Ben White getting his hair done today, says Ricky Proctor. Ben White is out of the game.
But he'd be booking up his holiday now or something, when he like having an international break, like, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no news on why he's out. I'd be very interested to find out why he's out. But
what's the bench, Robbie? Come on, like, you know what I mean?
I haven't got the bench yet. We got this. This is kind of exclusive. Hold on, wait. I think we've got the bench now. All right, Ramsdale, Kivior, Walters, El Neni, Fabio Vieira, Ibrahim, Sagu Jr., Nelson and Eddie Nketiah. So no Jesus on the bench either.
No Jesus, no Odegaard.
No Odegaard as well. And as I said, that's the I spoke about that conundrum. You go and play him now, they got to go on international duty.
Yeah, so
is Eddie on the bench?
Eddie's on the bench, yeah.
Okay.
Eddie Nketiah's on the bench.
And we got Vieira.
We've got a few youngsters on the bench. That just shows you how short we are. So this international break probably coming at a good time for us now. Then, like, we can get all those players sort of back.
We say that every episode, and then when we come back after that, we've got less players because somebody's picked up an injury on the international break.
Yeah, but if they're not going on international break, then we're not going to lose them on that. And I was surprised with something you said, Lee, earlier, that you're happy with our players playing for their countries, which is exactly what Arteta said in his press conference.
I'm not happy with it, but it's just if you've got international players in your team, you're doing well, aren't you?
Yeah, you're doing well, but I mean, from knowing you, I wouldn't have thought you're happy for them to be going on international duty because your priority is Arsenal, in the same as Arteta. So Arteta lied.
Yeah, and I'm just following Arteta. Like, yeah. I mean, like at the end of listen, I like to see. I'll tell you where I like to see our international players when it's in World Cups and when Arsenal are not playing. But when in an ideal world, you wouldn't want to see Saka playing. I don't know about you guys, but like the England guy, I've got no interest in Malta and Macedonia over this week. And
North Macedonia.
Sorry,
get it right.
Sorry. And I won't be staying up late watching them games. You know what I mean? So,
I've got to say on England, I did have the pleasure of going to their last game, and I've got to say they were very impressive against Italy. Good team, man.
You've got to say as well, like sometimes we say that about international duty, but sometimes, doesn't it, when you've got a player like, say, a Saka now, who's plays for England, is a star, plays a starring role for England and that, does that not then benefit Arsenal? That benefits Arsenal in the fact that he's now, every time he plays for England and does well, and does well on the international scene.
Points, Robbie.
Yep.
It doesn't give us any points, but it gives the player confidence. It makes people start to think. That player starts to think that, you know what, I'm a top player here. You know what I mean? I'm not just not just for my club, but for my country as well. I'm a top player, and it just gives him.
Reflects well on the club.
Yeah, and then he comes back to his club and he's confident. We can't always just look on it and say, oh well, we don't want him to go anywhere because he gets injured. You know what I mean? What if, say, Jesus did go away with Brazil and scores a hat-trick? Yep. You know what I mean? Then he comes back absolutely flying. You know what I mean? We have to consider those things as well. And
you've got to remember, Robbie alluded to it earlier, playing for countries like Brazil, like England as well, the competition for places is so stiff that those players are always going to want to go and represent their country.
Yeah.
Because it's like anything else. You don't play, you're injured. It's not like Odegaard who can walk straight back in the Norway team. Those Brazilian guys. And the competition is fierce.
The one good thing about England now, from that point of view, is that everybody wants to play there. Play for England now. Where there is that passion to play for Brazil, isn't there? A massive honour to play for Brazil. It's getting that way with England again. I think like in the past, players.
And that England team, trust me, like I said, I was at that game. Yeah. They smoked Italy that day.
Yeah,
Trust me. They could have gone.
We've got an abundance of wide players now. If you ever look at, I think Newcastle fans are moaning that Gordon's not involved at this moment in time. But if you ever look at the player, like Sterling can't even get in. So if you've got, like for Saka, for instance, he's nailed that position on. But if he wasn't to play for 2 or 3 games, and someone else comes in and does the business,
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at international football, who it benefits is the player. I mean, Saka will absolutely benefit from playing for England, but I don't see how it benefits Arsenal.
No, but I just explained to you how it can benefit because you've got a confident player. If a player goes to play,
anyway, still the same player.
No. The making of a player sometimes is you do it for your club, but then you go and you do it on the international stage. Say somebody like a Jude Bellingham who's been doing it brilliantly on the international stage.
Playing for Real Madrid.
Yeah, but then he carries that.
He should have enough confidence playing for Real Madrid.
No, but you say that.
He doesn't need to go and score against North Macedonia to increase his confidence.
No, but I'm saying it's a bit like during the week though we played Sevilla, right? So we're all saying, keep Trossard in because he's had a good game against Sevilla. But you said earlier that Sevilla are rubbish, right? And they were poor side. But we're still saying the confidence that's given the player, right, in coming. So I'm saying it's a similar thing. Let me finish. It's a similar thing on the international scene. If you are, especially those countries like your Brazils, like you, when you're playing for a big country, right? You go now. And you play well for your country, right? And everyone's talking about you and how well you've done, right? You're going to carry that through into the next week when you've got your game for your club. Okay. You're carrying through.
And not only that, right? You have to agree that it reflects well on the club. If you've got players of such ability that they're representing their countries, and like Robbie says, the likes of England, Brazil, it reflects well on the club.
Spurs, they're nearly scoring.
Okay,
a goal there. Let me just, by the way, give you the Burnley team because I haven't given you the Burnley team yet. In goal is James Trafford, O'Shea, Taylor, Bayer, Vitinho, Colisho, Berg, Sander Berg, good player, Gudmundsson, Brownhill, Amduma, and Jay Rodriguez. That is their starting 11 taking on Arsenal today. And it's that Colosso is a very good at the games I've seen him out wide. Again, maybe lacks a bit of end product, but will be a dangerous player. Also going to have to definitely look after him.
Yes. Do I now get my right of reply on the international stuff?
Yes, you can, well, you have replied before.
Well, I did reply.
You did reply before, but you can reply. Go on, reply again. Then you can respond again. Yeah.
Okay, good. So there is absolute advantages of international football, but I think if you balance it out for Arsenal, who play, and all clubs, if you pay these guys their wages, they're overplaying them, and it's suffering the club teams.
It's not affected Harry Kane, has it?
I don't care about Harry Kane.
No, but listen, I'm basing it off the point that you've just made.
Yep.
Right? What about Harry Kane? What about Jude Bellingham? Has it affected them? They've done brilliantly in the international team.
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, has it affected? He plays every game for England. Has that affected him?
Okay, for me, I care about Jesus.
Right.
And from when he's gone to Brazil,
Jesus.
Jesus.
Right.
When they've played for Brazil and they go on these long journeys and then they come back, it just takes maybe 1-2% off them.
Didn't affect Gabriel Magalhaes, who played in the last Brazilian game and scored.
Yeah.
Scored when he was away. He's come back. He's been playing all right, hasn't he? How's that affected him?
So you're looking.
Answer the question. How has that affected him?
I'm telling you.
You'll only pick out like where somebody a lot of times will jump and pick out a player who got injured. Fair enough, right? But fair enough. We'll all be, we'll all be a bit upset a player's gone away. But I'm saying on the other scale of that, if a player goes away with his country and does well, you don't even have to score a goal. Does well, or the country does well, like they're qualified and everything, right? He's coming back feeling good about himself.
He feels good about himself when he picks up his 200 grand a week and plays for Arsenal and scores a hat-trick. That's enough.
No, but you don't obviously don't understand.
Let's move to the vote.
Yeah. There's players like Declan Rice who we've got at Arsenal who absolutely loves playing for his country. The Brazilians, Gabriel at the back there was upset when he got left out of the Brazilian squad, right? These guys want to play for their country. These guys, and if they go and play for their country and they do well, they bring it back.
And don't forget, they're also with these players. They've been brought up on it, like from youth team, like under 17. A couple of our lads have gone on the under 17s now in England, and they so under 17s, under 18s. So it's ingrained.
Let me just say this as well, right?
To play for England.
Let me just say this very quickly. If you speak to any professional footballer, they will all tell you the pinnacle of their career is to represent their country. So these guys want to play for their country.
Absolutely agree that it's good for the players, because what it does, it increases their salaries, it increases their transfer fees, it increases their sponsorship deals. It's perfect for the players.
It's always thinking everything's motivated. It's got to have some sort of money motive to it, right?
It's perfect for the players. It is. If I was a player,
it's the cat. I'll worry about that. Where's the cash?
Yeah.
You don't worry about the cash. Where's my cash?
Well, that's what a lot of them want.
Some of them might be getting money playing for their countries.
You don't get big money playing for your international country.
No, but it increases everything else. It's a loss leader for them.
It increases their confidence as well. If they go and they play well, right, and they're doing well for their country,
I'm absolutely
it
agreeing
increases
with
them. Oh, this is a chance for Tottenham. So it increases them as well.
There's something wrong with it. No, seriously, Julian, you speak to any professional footballer and they will say the pinnacle of their career is representing their country. So why deny
him?
He
left his foot in there.
The pinnacle of any professional footballer's career.
And I'm not disputing it's good. It is good for the players, but on the balance of everything, I just don't think it's good for the clubs. But there is some advantages.
Respectfully,
Cheyenne Jackson says Julian talking like the Napoli owner, who said similar things before. Julian is wrong on this side, says Murray. Julian, they're kind of tearing into you on this one. But listen, I just feel that. Listen, we all hate it when our player goes away on international duty and gets injured. I get that. But playing for your country, like you said, is the pinnacle. If someone goes away...
It didn't do us no good last year, Robbie.
Yeah, if Saka's playing well for England...
got injured for 3 months.
No,
he didn't. And it didn't. But what, you know what I mean? You would have... Listen, if he would have gone to the World Cup and done well and became one of the you know, starring players of that World Cup for Brazil.
And then we have to sell him for
Put it this way,
wages.
if you signed a player and you said to them as part of your contract, no international football, we wouldn't sign anyone good.
Of course, that's a great point.
It's not good. Look, it's part of the reality of football. I accept that. But if it wasn't there, I think it would benefit the clubs.
But it always will be there, because as I said, players think that that's the pinnacle of their career.
Anyway, let me get your predictions as we draw to a close here, because the game is closing in. I'm sure we continue this argument, Julian. Your prediction, Julian, for the game today?
Okay. I think if we can score in the first 15 minutes, which, as we've discussed a few times, Arsenal haven't done yet, if we can get that goal, we'll go on to win 3-4-0. So I would estimate that we will get that goal early and we'll win 4-0.
Laurie?
I'm saying minimum 3-0.
3-0?
3-0.
All right.
I'm going to say 4 internationals. Trossard, Saka and Martinelli are going to get the goals.
What about Havertz? You said that Havertz was going to be a key player and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Havertz needs to ease into the team off the bench, says A.
I want Havertz to do well, and then
I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 to Arsenal. I actually got it. I said 2-0 the other night against Sevilla, and I was spot on. Right?
I said 2-0.
Yeah. I said 2-0 as well.
You said 2-0 today?
I thought you said 3-0. Yeah.
All right. I'll go 3-0 then. You know, stuff you lot.
I know it sounds slightly contradictory that I predicted Sevilla 2-0 and I'm saying that Burnley will give us a tougher game, but I actually do think that once we get the first goal, as Julian said, I think we'll be okay.
But it's all about scoring early. The other thing about Burnley is they've scored 3 out of their 8 goals early as well within the first 50 minutes, so we've got a little watch for that.
Right, the guy that scored 3 of their 8 goals, he's out.
He's out.
Yeah, Brendan says 2-1 to Arsenal, 4-0 says Ulysses, Tyrone says 3-1 to the Arsenal, Yamat says 2-1.
How many more chances did they need?
By the way, Wolves have had loads of chances.
Look at him.
So poor in front of goal.
As soon as they've got into the box.
Yeah, as soon as they get into the box, Wolves, they shouldn't be
pathetic from that free.
Game.
Look, Doherty.
Doherty used to play for Tottenham.
Ex-Tottenham.
It was slightly behind to be fair, but you know, they've had a lot of chances and they've not put it away. And Tottenham look like they're going back to the top of the league. But listen, the main thing is that Arsenal get their job done today. Don't forget, you can check out our watch along here on AFTV, so make sure you check that out. And after the game, have your say. You can come onto FANZONE and tell us exactly what you made of the game, who played well, who didn't, etc., etc. All you got to do is download the app AFTV Plus, and you are through to us with the touch of a button wherever you are in the UK and around the world. So get involved on FANZONE later on after the game. Want to hear from as many of you as possible. Also, we'll be at the game, we'll be talking to fans. Nobody covers Arsenal as comprehensively as AFTV. So make sure, if you're at the game, come and see us after the game and have your say on what you made of the performance as well. But looking forward to the game today. Last one before the international break, Arsenal versus Burnley. Let me just quickly, before I go, remind you of the team. Once again, it's Raya in goal, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Declan Rice, Havertz, Martinelli, Saka and Trossard. And on the bench is Ramsdale, Kivior, Walters, El Neni, Ibrahim, Nelson, Vieira, Sagu Jr. and Eddie Nketiah. Lots of kids there on the bench. Possibly could get a chance today, you never know. Thanks for watching the show, and we will be back very soon with the big watch along. Check it out.